Well, it's not just the Second Amendment and our right to keep and bear arms, it's the First Amendment and our free speech that is under attack from this very same incident. And of course, this is what we've seen over and over again. If the left disagrees with you on an issue, they don't argue with you. They simply try to silence you, to censor you. We saw this happen in the European Union. George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, who tried to jail a Turk who denied the Armenian genocide. Now, I disagree with the Turk. I think that the Armenian genocide certainly happened, but that's the way you combat it, is in the free marketplace of ideas. You debate people, you show the facts. The facts can win, the truth can win out. But they tried to jail him simply because they didn't agree with his opinion, whether right or wrong. And now we see that happening in the wake of this event. Look at what Facebook did. They deleted Pamela Geller's Stop the Islamization of America page after the Orlando attack. Now, this is a page that's been up for years. It has 50,000 members. They waited until the aftermath of this, and then Facebook shut it down. Facebook says the group, the Stop the Islamization of America, has been removed because it violated our terms of use. And yet it's been operating for many, many years. Where did she report that? I think it's interesting to know the people who aren't censoring opinions. She had to go to Twitter to report that she had been censored by Facebook. Here's another censor center. That is Reddit. Reddit bans users, deletes comments that say the Orlando terrorist was a Muslim. And of course, these are Reddit moderators who are actively banning users. Anyone who discussed the Orlando nightclub terrorist religion was shut down. We got a couple of examples of this. One user, Moonsprite, shared a screenshot of an article that he posted online, simply saying Orlando shooting suspect may have leanings to Islamic extremism, just leanings to it. And for that, he got banned from participating in Reddit news. And they say you can still read it, but you can't put anything else out there. And he wasn't the only one who was banned. Another individual tried to post an update when law enforcement officials raised the death count from 20 to 50, but that thread was deleted before he could finish the comment. So you see, this is the way that they are controlling the media. They used to control the media by having only 3 news organizations. The nightly news every night was ABC, CBS, or NBC. Now that the internet has broken out, we see them moving against it. And as I repeated earlier, the big gun grabber, Senator Markey out of Massachusetts, said that this guy was radicalized by the internet. He wasn't radicalized by Islam, according to him. He was radicalized by the internet. The internet needs to be controlled. Your guns need to be controlled. No, what they're trying to do is enact complete human control. They're trying to control you. Now, this last weekend, Julian Assange pointed out that Google is in bed with Hillary Clinton's campaign. That's another way that they control you, okay? It's not just the social media sites, but it's also Google and what they show you when you look for news. He was speaking at a European Journalism Summit last Tuesday, and the WikiLeaks founder told attendees that Google is, quote, directly engaged with Hillary Clinton's campaign. He noted that in 2015, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt launched, quote, The Groundwork. That's the name of the organization. It's a startup specifically designed to get Clinton elected. He said Google is heavily integrated with the Washington power at personal levels and at a business level. He said the search engine has been gathering an increasing control over distribution channels through which voters take in news about the election. See, if they can control your social media, if they can control the search engines, if they can control what is trending, and that's what Facebook did, remember? They told everybody, hey, we're going to give you an honest reporting of what's trending. It's just a machine. It's going to look out there, tell you what other people are looking at. But they were manipulating that list. And of course, you know, it's a private thing. They can censor whoever they wish. They can manipulate it, but they were telling people that they were reporting what was trending, when in fact, they were manipulating. They were censoring some things that were trending that they didn't like, and they were putting some things that they did want to get out there to you that were not trending. Now, Assange also criticized, of course, Clinton's foreign policy, and I think this is something very important for Democrats as well as even Republicans to understand. He said, what we have with Clinton is someone who is a hawk, but who has the tools of legal interventionism, a rhetorical cover to start wars, and someone who seemingly wants to start them. Yeah, she is a full-on warmonger. That's the reason why all of these people, the Never Trump people from National Review, all the neocons like Bill Kristol at the Weekly Standard, National Review, others, they're all saying, you know, I could live with Hillary Clinton more than I could Donald Trump. That's right. She'll give them their wars. She'll give them their globalist trade agreements that they negotiated in secret. She will give them the open borders that they want. Those are the critical issues. They'll let us argue about abortion. Isn't it interesting that no matter who gets elected, whether Democrat or Republican, nothing ever changes about abortion. The funding doesn't go up. The funding doesn't really go down. The laws don't change. Everything remains the same. But we fight over those issues when in reality, each election cycle, they have something very critical they want to accomplish. Like last time, it was Obamacare or Romney Care, because they were exactly the same thing. We'd seen Romney do it in Massachusetts. Now, we have published, and here's another example of it today on InfoWars, how special is Google's relationship with the White House. Say Google has long ties to both Obama and Hillary. Google, they say, has turned into a traditional U.S. state power. Again, this is another quote from Julian Assange, pointing to the fact that former CEO Eric Schmidt is now heading the Pentagon Innovation Board. This is a report released by the Campaign for Accountability as part of its Google Transparency Project earlier this year, appears to confirm that the company enjoys a special relationship with Washington, and especially Obama and Hillary. They examined White House visitor logs. Google's top executives, employees, and representatives of associated entities visited the White House 427 times from January 2009 to October 31st, 2015. And of course, Eric Schmidt is a frequent visitor to Bilderberg as well. And in April, about 2 months ago, we reported just how close are Obama and Google? You won't believe the answer. Here is an investigation as they were being looked at by the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission. This is an ethics watchdog investigation. Now, they say the FTC at the upper levels may have misled Congress about how it protected Google. They highlight how the White House went into panic mode to limit the damage to Google. Last March, Google learned that the Wall Street Journal was about to publish details of how the Federal Trade Commission shut down an investigation into Google, contradicting some of the recommendations by its own investigators. Now, what happened with this was this information, just as we have seen with a lawsuit against the TSA, they mistakenly published both the redacted and the unredacted version of some documents. Those documents showed that there was no threat at the time to airports or airplanes, even as they were threatening to turn Texas into a no-fly zone, because we had legislation going through our state legislature that would have stopped those procedures. In the same way, the Wall Street Journal got a hold of this still redacted information. And I gotta say, why would you have an internal Federal Trade Commission treated like it was a top secret document? Is that national security? I guess it is, because it's about Google. So it is national security. They say the half-readable report nevertheless showed that staff had conducted an investigation of Google's behavior, similar to the one conducted by the European Union, which began in 2010. They concluded that Google was anti-competitive. They recommended the FTC press charges. The FTC staff concluded that Google had violated the Sherman Antitrust Act in 3 areas, and they continuing behavior would have lasting negative effects on consumer welfare, but it was shut down by the upper brass. Isn't that interesting? And as we remember what we just told you about Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, being on a Pentagon advisory team, I think it's very interesting to look at this story that's from the Mirror via Drudge Report today. Robot which can choose to harm humans sparks an artificial intelligence debate. And they say, well, going back to the I, Robot series, that was the Will Smith movie, but there's also the Isaac Asimov novels before that. They had these different laws of robotics, and the first law was you cannot harm a human. So now they say, oh, this is kind of troubling. They're teaching the robots to actually harm a human. And I have to say, don't you realize that Google bought all of the robotics companies that had any promise when DARPA did their robotics challenge? They are now a military robots supplier. Do you understand that the Pentagon and the Google robots are being used to set up autonomous killer robots? What's this about not harming humans? Of course they're going to harm humans. That's the design that they're coming up with. And then you look at this article, same day, MIT Technology Review. AI machines are undergoing psychological behavioral tests, just like they do to us. This has been the focus of DARPA from day one. Well, that's it for tonight's Nightly News. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber to Prison Planet TV, please consider becoming one and supporting our operation here financially. Join us again tomorrow night at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.
The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the info war. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the info war to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.